Understanding the glycemic index and its practical applications in nutrition. Introduction. Today, we'll explore how different foods affect blood sugar levels, how the glycemic index can be used in dietary planning, and what limitations we should keep in mind. Whether you're managing diabetes, aiming for better energy levels, or simply curious about how food interacts with your body, this guide will offer practical insights to support healthier choices. Agenda overview. Here's what we'll cover. First, we'll define the glycemic index and explain how it's measured. Then we'll look at how foods affect blood sugar levels and explore examples across the GI spectrum. We'll discuss how the glycemic index can be used in dietary planning. Finally, we'll examine its limitations and introduce complementary concepts like glycemic load and personalized nutrition. Section 1. Defining the glycemic index. Let's begin by defining the glycemic index. Explanation of the glycemic index concept. The glycemic index, or GI, measures how carbohydrate-containing foods impact blood glucose levels compared to a reference food over a 2-hour period. These reference foods are typically pure glucose or white bread. After consumption, blood glucose changes are tracked to determine the food's GI value. How the glycemic index is measured. To measure GI, participants consume a portion of food containing 50 grams of available carbohydrates. Blood glucose levels are then monitored at regular intervals over 2 hours. The area under the blood glucose response curve is calculated to determine the glycemic index value. The scale and what the numbers mean. GI values range from 0 to 100, indicating how quickly a food raises blood sugar. Low GI foods score 55 or less and cause a slower, more sustained rise in blood sugar. Medium GI foods fall between 56 and 69, leading to a moderate increase. High GI foods score 70 or above, causing rapid spikes in blood glucose. Section 2. How foods affect blood sugar levels. Now let's explore how carbohydrates influence blood sugar. Relationship between carbohydrates and blood glucose. Carbohydrates are broken down into glucose during digestion. This glucose enters the bloodstream and raises blood sugar levels. The extent of this rise depends on the type of carbohydrate and the food's physical structure or matrix. Examples of high, medium, and low glycemic index foods. High GI foods, such as white bread and potatoes, quickly raise blood sugar. Medium GI foods, like brown rice and pineapple, cause a moderate increase. Low GI foods, including lentils, apples, and non-starchy vegetables, help maintain steady blood sugar levels. Factors influencing a food's glycemic index. Several factors influence a food's glycemic index. Processing can increase GI by breaking down food structure and speeding digestion. Cooking methods alter starch structure, affecting glucose absorption. Fiber slows digestion and lowers glycemic response. Riper fruits contain more sugar, raising their GI. Fat and protein in meals slow carbohydrate absorption, reducing glycemic impact. Section 3. Uses of the glycemic index in dietary planning. Let's look at how GI can be applied in nutrition planning. Role in managing diabetes. Low GI foods help regulate blood glucose levels, preventing sudden spikes after meals. Over time, they contribute to better long-term blood sugar control for individuals with diabetes. Application for weight management. Low GI diets promote satiety, helping reduce hunger and overall calorie intake. By stabilizing blood sugar and insulin levels, they support effective weight management and reduce energy crashes. General healthy eating guidelines. In general, consuming more low and medium GI foods helps maintain stable blood sugar and supports overall health. Balanced nutrition. Incorporating a variety of nutrients from different food groups promotes optimal body function and reduces the risk of chronic diseases like diabetes and heart disease. Section 4. Limitations and considerations of the glycemic index. While GI is a useful tool, it's important to understand its limitations. Limitations of glycemic index as a sole nutritional tool. GI does not account for portion size, which affects blood sugar impact. It also overlooks nutrient content such as fats, proteins, and vitamins. Additionally, it doesn't reflect how mixed meals influence glycemic response differently than single foods. Glycemic load and its significance. Glycemic load, or GL, combines GI with the amount of carbohydrate in a serving to provide a more practical measure of blood sugar impact. GL offers a realistic assessment of how typical food portions affect glucose levels. Individual variability and other dietary factors. Individual metabolism plays a role in how blood glucose responds to food. Gut microbiota composition also affects digestion and glucose regulation. The type and combination of foods in a meal influence blood sugar responses, highlighting the importance of personalized nutrition. Conclusion: the glycemic index is a valuable tool for understanding how carbohydrates affect blood sugar. It supports diabetes management and can guide healthier eating choices. However, effective nutrition requires a comprehensive approach, one that considers glycemic index alongside other dietary factors and personal health needs. By integrating these insights, we can make informed decisions that support long-term wellness.